We will get into 5 blockbuster NFL trade ideas here momentarily. But first, if you want more free NFL trade deadline coverage, you've come to the right spot. Hit that sub button right now. Let's begin with a quarterback trade. They never really happened, but I got one happening here. How about Kirk Cousins to the New York Jets? I high-key love this idea. And Kirk Cousins, I think, is a bit of an underrated quarterback. He has a tendency to just struggle in prime time. He was good this year, though. Good in prime time this year. Minnesota might be 3-0 if they could literally hold on to the football. They haven't. They've got an unreal amount of fumbles and fumbles lost. Cousins has been good. He's somewhere in that, back end fringe top 10, but still pretty clearly top 15. That's a good quarterback. And if the Jets had that quarterback, they are a playoff team. That defense is awesome. They have the ground game. The O-line's not that great, I know, but they have a top 5 roster minus the quarterback with the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. Zach Wilson does not have confidence. He still looks like he looks like a golfer who has been told 3 to 4 different things with what he needs to do with his swing, and all of his swing thoughts have merged together, and the result is he's Charles Barkley out there. It just doesn't work. So something has to be done in New York, or that regime might get fired. You can't just say we're good with Zach Wilson and Trevor Siemian and expect to make the playoffs like your roster says you can. I get not wanting to sacrifice your future, and you think Rodgers will be back next year, okay? How about this idea then? Minnesota gets a 3rd-round pick this year and a conditional 3rd-round pick. So more than they would get if, hypothetically, they did not retain Kirk Cousins in NFL free agency, and that condition's tied into, what the Jets do with Cousins in the playoffs and what they do with him contract-wise. So could become more. You could even go with if we win the Super Bowl, you can have our first or something. That's fine. If they miss the playoffs, it's a 4th or a 5th or something. You can have some flexibility there, and the Jets become a playoff contender, and Minnesota gets to bottom out and go take Drake May, Caleb Williams. It'd be a bad look. They'd be punting on the season. It's not what owners like to do, but Kirk's in the last year of his deal. Only $10 million that the Jets would have to pay him. Maybe you could do some fudging of the money too. I kind of love that idea for both sides. So what should the Vikings do with Kirk Cousins? T for trade him, or K for keep him? It is the pinned comment on today's show. If the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. Number 2, everyone wants Kyle Pitts. Off the top, it's not going to happen. I get that the Falcons' offense does not utilize him the way he should be utilized, but the offense actually is kind of good when Desmond Ridder is not terrible. It's a quarterback issue right now. But they use 2 tight ends a lot. 3rd-round pick. They will not give him away. If they were to do so, the Chargers would be the most fun fit because they have Gerald Everett. Okay, he's fine. Donald Parham can do some red zone stuff. Okay. You lose Mike Williams. Imagine an offense engineered with Quentin Johnston out there, with Keenan Allen out there, with Kyle Pitts. You can mix in the occasional Josh Palmer. You can still use Gerald Everett. Austin Eckler gets healthy. LA has to go win now, or that GM might get fired. Head coach probably does too. So screw your 1st-round pick. Desperate team theory. 1st-round pick. Backup tight end Trey McKitty, so the Falcons can still utilize those 2 tight end set, a former 3rd-round pick out of Georgia. I think the Falcons are not going to shop Kyle Pitts, but if they do, I think there's a long list of teams in the mix, but it's blockbusters. You got to put Kyle Pitts on here, even though, again, I don't think the Falcons would trade him. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You're not battling thousands of player stat projections or you other pros and sharks. You pick more than or less than on just 2 to 6 player stat projections. You don't have to pick 15 or a full lineup. You can do as few as 2. It's pretty simple there. Here's some of what I'm picking this week on Prize Picks. Give me the more than on Christian McCaffrey, 86.5 yards on the ground. The Cowboys ran the ball great until they got into the red zone, and McCaffrey's just been awesome this year. Give me the more than on Josh Jacobs' touchdowns, rushing, receiving, or even a passing trick play there. That's just one. The Chargers' run D is terrible. It should happen this week for Josh Jacobs. Give me the more than on Justin Jefferson touchdowns as well. I like Ejiro Evero, but I'm feeling a win for the Vikings, and that's probably going to be a touchdown for JJ. And give me less than. It's only 198.5 on the passing yards for Ryan Tannehill, but Ryan Tannehill and this entire Titans team really just does not look particularly competent this year. And what they've done so far this season was 198 against the Saints, 246 against the Chargers, bad defense, and 104 against the Browns. It's a good Bengals defense. I love the less than on that one. You can also do flex play or power play. The difference there being the flex play only got to hit 3 out of 4. Now, you're not going to get the same return on your or the same value back, but you do the power play, hit all of them, 5x, baby. You can turn $10 into $250 if you do it right on Prize Picks. And they're going to give you a $100 first deposit match, or I should say up to $100 on your first deposit by using code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. You can take my picks or not take them. Have some fun. Boost your game watching experience with Prize Picks. All right, number 3 trade idea, Jonathan Taylor to the Ravens. Taylor, we will see if the Ravens, actually, or the Colts actually have viable trade demands. Like, if they keep it up and go, well, let's see the Ravens. We want Zay Flowers. It's not going to happen. And they asked for Jalen Waddle and Christian Watson, which is ridiculous. Colts, meanwhile, they have a good player in Taylor. And I will say this. I have been very, very impressed with what Shane Steichen has done. I would like to see him with a better option in the ground game, but Indy's still not there yet. So if things are dead between Taylor and the Colts, the Ravens stand out. Justice Hill's been banged up. Gus Edwards has been banged up. It's Melvin Gordon and Kenyon Drake, and those guys stink. So how about a 3rd-round pick? Make it conditional if you want to become to a 2nd. I don't think you're going to get more than that for Jonathan Taylor. I think that's asking a ridiculous cost to make something like that happen. I think the Ravens are a great fit for JT. So in the end, let's say, before the deadline, I should say, will the Colts trade away Jonathan Taylor? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off in the comments section. Number 4, Jerry Jeudy to the New England Patriots. Remember, they were allegedly one of the teams most interested in acquiring Jerry Jeudy when Denver was shopping him last year. Now Denver's 0-3. Judy's entering the final year of his contract. He's off to a fine-ish start so far this season. And I don't mind I don't mind that one at all. He's 8 catches, 106. It's okay. 12 targets. It's not the best, not the worst. He's been a little bit nicked up. But like a trade of that type of player makes sense for Denver. The Patriots have Devontae Parker. This receiving room is just like, it's just a lot of like, And they were force-feeding Demario Douglas at one point this year. Like, they got a lot of like, well, if he's your 3 or 4, I feel great about it. And that's across the board from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's get a legit number 1 in there for New England and give Mac Jones some more reliable playmakers. Now, the trade idea, I don't know what receivers are worth in the trade market anymore. It's all very weird and odd and frankly confusing. 2024, 2nd-round pick. It's the Mohamed Sanu trade. I think it makes sense. I do. Put your trade ideas for me in the comments. Any idea you have, somewhat realistic, but have some fun in the process. Number 5, Brian Burns to the Jaguars. This Jags team is still good. Had some bad luck. I'm not out on them. They're close. The big thing they're missing right now has been the play of their pass rush. I liked Caleb on Chasen coming out. He was a developmental piece. He has not developed so far. It has been ugly. He's playing too many snaps. Trayvon Walker's not there yet. They need another viable option. Guess what, folks? Brian Burns once again on track for a double-digit sack season. Had 12.5 last year when the Panthers allegedly turned down multiple firsts. Now remember, it was Rams firsts. So it was a future one and a future one, which really equates to like maybe one first is what that would have been. Again, that's all alleged there. He's got 3 sacks this year, wants a new contract. Carolina's not paid him it yet. It's a bit awkward right now. Carolina wants to get some assets back. So they have no first rounder this year. They probably should have just traded Burns and kept DJ Moore, but that's, neither here nor there. A first-round pick and a conditional 2025 pick could be as high as a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4 based on how he plays and what the Jags end up doing with his contract long-term. I think Brian Burns in Carolina, along with Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, now that Jags team has a few more horses to compete on that side of the football.